Welcome. I am happy to be here with you in this moment to share with you the ongoing journey and the adventure of the Spirit and each of our souls in this journey. The title of this Evolving Wholeness series is 2012, The Coming Changes. As many of you may know, and for those of you who don't know, 2012 has been prophesized as a very climatic change in terms of the ongoing development of mankind. Specifically the Mayans and their systems of tracking time, which were considered to be extremely advanced, far beyond just tracking time and the seasons and the years as we commonly know. They actually looked at cosmic cycles. So they would be looking at cycles of our galaxy rather than just our planetary system around the sun. So they took into account much greater cycles within time and looked at how that impacts our experience here on Earth. And basically, so many thousands of years, there is this critical event in which the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way, which they refer to as the central sun, lines up with our planetary system and the Earth, so that coming into 2012, we will be in alignment with the central sun and its photon belt, which is a high energy being beamed directly at us. And it is this high energy that is responsible for the transformation that will be taking place on the planet, regardless of whether us as individuals and as collective groups and nations would prefer that these changes do not happen. For, of course, human beings and then collectives of human beings do not like change. And for the most part, human beings do not change unless that change is forced upon them. So, with this increase of subtle light force energy that will be increasing from this point on to 2012, it will initiate this next new age within mankind's unfolding and therefore mankind's spiritual development. And of course, with this and the changes that will be taking place, if you haven't already noticed, which I'm sure you have, already as of 2009, as the date of this video being shot, of February 8th, that at this point in time, already the U.S. and the world economy is starting to go into extreme chaos, and from all perspective accounts, it looks like it will go into further disrepair and depression. And so as things continue to be shaken on an economic level throughout Earth and all human beings on it, you can see already that there is change happening. And this change, for the most part, is very uncomfortable because it brings great chaos and great upheaval in human beings. But within this upheaval, and of course that upheaval will also include intensifying weather disasters such as more tornadoes, more hurricanes, potentially more earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and as the Mayans again predicted, great floods, which you can see is also happening with the melting of the polar ice caps, which will be increasingly raising the ocean levels, which will increase the intensity of storms. So this first wave of disasters that we are experiencing right now on the economic level will eventually pale in comparison to the potential dramatic weather changes and earth changes that will be happening within the next so many years, and intensifying. And of course, depending on how mankind deals with CO2 emissions and global warming, will ultimately determine the severity of these natural disasters. And of course, that is always a process of choice, just how each of us as individuals have a choice in terms of how we will move through all these challenges and journeys. But another important thing to keep in mind is that all of these potential disasters and problems really have to do with the next stage in mankind's spiritual evolution. It is very much like a baby or a small child that's had a pair of clothes to wear, and as it continues to grow, it has to grow out of those old clothes because they no longer fit. With this increase of energy, this life force of consciousness that will be increasing on the planet, our old clothes of how we think, how we feel, how we interact with our brothers and sisters, how nations interact with each other, our social structures, things that we hold valuable, religion, all of these things have to change. They will change. So the question becomes then for you as an individual to prepare yourself for this change, which I feel is one of the most important things that you can do. Recognizing that all this is really about continuing our evolution, or as the series is about, evolving wholeness. So if you can align yourself to the increase of energy and to the changes that will be coming, you will be able to move through this in a much more smooth, full, and easeful manner. But of course, there are many factors involved. And as you can move through these, and as this energy increases on the planet, this will impact your experience. It will impact how the energy flows through your body, the life force energy. It will impact your nervous system, the brain. It will affect the neurochemistry in the brain. And it will affect your subtle energy bodies, also referred to as the emotional body, the mental body, and the subtler soul bodies, your life essence. So these things will be changing in you. So the more that you can understand how you can accommodate these changes and adapt and adopt your life and your lifestyle and your practices to be congruent with the changes that are coming, the more successful you will be in this ongoing transformation and this evolutionary unfolding of mankind on this planet. For ultimately, we all have such great potentials to experience a universe that is so vast, that is so infinite, but yet for the most part, as human beings, we relegate ourselves to experiencing just a very small corner of what is otherwise a very vast space. And it is, again, about ever greater awakening. We have to build the structures, physical, emotional, mental, that will have the capacity and the ability to allow for a greater awakening of consciousness, to unfold more of its inherent qualities. And in order for this to then manifest and come through, there has to be changes. So just consider this in your journey and let this sink into your being as to ways that you may begin to or continue to transform your life and yourself to prepare for this greater evolutionary transformation that is coming for each of you and for the planet at large. So peace and blessings to you in this process.